If someone asked you what the significance of 2015 was in your mind, what would you say? What would come to your mind? Would it be that this was the first time that NASA's Horizon spacecraft flew through space all the way to the point that it reached Pluto to take photos of it and its largest moon? Would it be the fact that Myanmar in 2015 accelerated faster than any other year toward democracy? Or would it in fact be that this was the year that cult classic Minions ended up hitting theaters worldwide? Well, for me, it's none of those things. Surprisingly, this is actually the year that I went to my first Counter-Strike event. That's right. I, as a individual content creator who used to make YouTube videos, who still does, who now has this beautiful $10 million studio, went to a Counter-Strike tournament. Who'd I go with? I went with Taylor, who's designing all the Boxer merchandise. We've kept in touch, you could say, okay? Back in the day, I was talking about it on Twitch. I said, hey, I would like to go to an event to try to do interviews. I've been sitting on these KZ maps all day long, jumping around like an idiot, and I want to see some of these people in real life. I've been watching some professional Counter-Strike. I even started casting a little bit, but I hadn't seen anybody for the first time. So I decided I wanted to go to ESWC 2015 in Montreal. So Taylor in my Twitch chat said, I'll take you, man. We drove on a road trip all the way to Montreal and did interviews. This was the event. I did an interview with s1mple, and I was like, hey, how's it going, man? And he's like, yeah, back at Cologne, we were all on Adderall, and we came in last place. And then now they do drug testing at ESL events because of that interview. And it was actually in the New York Times in print on my birthday. It's a weirdly proud moment because I didn't feel like I did anything, but it was also in a Game Informer. See this tattoo right here? It's actually also the front cover of a Game Informer that had an interview about this kind of Adderall incident. Check it out. Okay, that's the front cover of the magazine. I did those interviews and it was my first event. I remember seeing Shocks for the first time, who was my favorite player, and I was just, honestly, I was shaky in the knees. I was nervous. Meeting pro players for the first time that I'd just been watching on a big screen, it was a special moment. It was really special. And this is all in light of the now 3-time #1 player in the world, s1mple, who back in the day, in 2015, he played on Flipside. And you know, Blade is his coach right now. Blade used to be a player sitting beside him in the server back then. And s1mple was just a new kid on the block. s1mple in 2015 wasn't even a top 20 player. That's right, not even in the top 20. In 2016, he was number 4. And then from there on out, of course, there was no looking back. But in 2015, he was only known as a very talented and very toxic individual. But now it all makes sense. He could see what other people were doing wrong, and I think he's got better words for it these days. He's obviously grown and matured. He's 25 years old, man. 25 years old. You know what I was doing at 25 years old? I was probably watching a Smosh video. No, probably not. I was probably watching Minions, actually. s1mple at this event plays with Flipside. Hiko is playing with Flipside. Hiko was there playing on a team that doesn't speak English, making best friends with s1mple. This is the start of the s1mple-Hiko bromance, okay? So we're talking about the elimination from the tournament for Flipside. They play against Na'Vi, who end up winning the event, all right? But why this is funny is because we're talking about a game, Inferno. It's 14-1 up for Na'Vi versus Flipside. We have Blade in the 1v1 versus Zeus. There is no time to fake a defuse, okay? Blade has to defuse the bomb, all right? Zeus comes swinging out around arches to shoot at him, to bait him off the bomb, even though there's no choice for Blade except for defuse it. Blade bites, he gets off the bomb, he goes to shoot back at Zeus. They lose the game, and after the game, s1mple deletes Blade off of Steam, and he tweets out, I can't believe such experienced players can make decisions like this. That was s1mple back in 2015, okay? And look how far we've come now. We're talking about a guy that now he's the only player to have gotten #1 3 times on HLTV. If it wasn't for the Zyborg for these last 2 years in 2019, 2020, s1mple would have been #1 in the world 5 years in a row. When you think about GOAT, what comes to mind? Is it Michael Jordan? Is it an actual, if you have an internet connection, it's probably not an actual GOAT at this point. It's going to be your favorite sports stars. We're talking about Messi, Messi, go, 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 go. If it's not one of those people and you are online and you're playing video games, it's probably s1mple. Maybe you're thinking about Flash, maybe you're thinking about Faker, but if you're cool, you're playing the right game. You're playing Counter-Strike, you're thinking about s1mple. If there is a contender, maybe it's Device for the amount of results, depends how much you weigh the majors, but at this point, s1mple has proved that he can carry any team, okay, no matter how heavy that team may be. But he's also kind of unique, right? Because right now you have players like the Monacies of the world that have been playing every single day for 10 hours, playing 2/3 of their life until they're 15 years old, but they haven't even gotten to that number 1 point, right? ZywOo is the only one, but honestly, it probably stings for s1mple, the thought that ZywOo is the only reason he hasn't been number 1 5 years in a row. But to even get it 3 times and to be the first to do it, well, that's insanely impressive. And we could say hats off to ZywOo as well, but this video is not about him, it's about s1mple. He knew he was the best before he said he was. s1mple's probably the greatest to ever do it. He's 25 years old. If you're 25, what are you doing right now? Do you have Minecraft open on your screen? You could admit it, it's fine. He probably played a little bit of Minecraft as well, but most of the time he was working, right? You weren't with him shooting in the gym. He's had a crazy slope of a career. He's had his toxic period into his dominant period, into the team that he always deserved, into winning the major. He's got that fairy tale story, but it was kind of a long and arduous journey. And we'll see if anybody else has as much friction on the way as s1mple had, but we also don't know how long this peak is going to last. And we've got to soak it up while it's here, because this is the beautiful thing about CS right now. A huge part of that story is s1mple and what he's given us. Anybody, any team, any player that shows us the ceiling of the game is giving us a gift as a fan that has to be cherished. And that's why these players, you know, they're put on a pedestal. You know what? That's okay. I think that's great. And I think what they're doing and showing us that they can do something no one else can do, proving that there's room for everybody else to improve in consistency and peak, shows us that we're playing a game that's worth playing. And that's the most beautiful part that all the fans can appreciate. So yeah, I'm a bit high on s1mple, and I thought it would be a good time to celebrate him a little bit. What a guy, what a player, and what a special moment for all of us, and especially the new people who are coming into CS, to be able to see this story happen live. And I would like to go back and talk about more moments in history with more players just like s1mple, maybe share some stories if I got them. Let me know if you like that, and leave a like if s1mple should have been number 1 4 years in a row, 4 years in total.